Hey, yo, sir. So today we're going to be discussing a poem by Emily Dickinson. And the poem is I Taste the Liquor Never Brewed. Right? So, just like Emily Dickinson's other works, this poem also revolves around nature. But I think our students of the country, আমাদের দেশের স্টুডেন্টরা অনেক বেশি বেনিফিট পাবে যদি এই পোয়েমটাকে একটু visually পড়ানো হয়. So that's what we're going to be doing today. In this video, we're going to go through the poem and we'll put up the visual images that you need to understand what she's talking about, what kind of metaphor and similes she's using to basically express her feelings, right? So let's go through the first verse, right? I taste the liquor never brewed. From tankards scooped in pearl, not all the Frankfurt berries yield such an alcohol. Here, the speaker is saying she has tasted something that was never brewed. Now, how can that be? How can you taste something that was never made? Brewing basically means brewing is the process by which you make alcohol. Whether it's wine or beer, you need to brew the grape juices or wheat juices to make the alcohol, make the liquor. So I taste a liquor never brewed from tankards scooped in pearl. What's a tankard? Tankard is a type of glass with a handle, right? That's majorly or mostly used for alcohol consumption. Like you might have seen it in Lords of the Ring trilogy or any other Western movie that shows a old type of brewery or pub, right? So they use these tankards to drink beer or wine, right? So from tankards scooped in pearl. Pearl means mukta. So here the speaker or the poet is trying to make the image like a tankard full of beer with the white foams on top. ওই ফোমগুলোকে দেখতে কিছুটা পার্লের মতো লাগে, মুক্তোর মতো লাগে. So from tankards scooped in pearl, not all the Frankfurt berries. Frankfurt is a city in German that's next to Rhine River, right? And the berries that grows along the riverside, Rhine River, সেই বেরিগুলো বিখ্যাত হচ্ছে ওয়াইনের জন্য. ওই বেরি থেকে যে ওয়াইনটা তৈরি হয়, those are usually very famous, right? So she's saying not all the Frankfurt berries. Frankfurter ওই বেরিগুলো থেকেও can yield such an alcohol. এমন alcohol তৈরি করা যাবে না যেটা the alcohol that I'm drinking right now that's getting me drunk. So let's go to the next verse. So it's a very strong alcohol. She's enjoying it. She's getting drunk, right? So let's go through the second verse. Inebriate of air am I, and debauchee of dew. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we have the answer of what she is getting drunk on, right? So inebriate of air. Inebriate is another word for drunk. And debauchee of dew. Debauchee is another word for drunk, right? Really drunk. So she's using multiple synonyms to just describe herself, how drunk she is. But now we know what is she drunk on. Inebriate of air. বাতাস আমাকে drunk করে দিচ্ছে. Debauchee of dew. Now dew means basically it could be dew drops on summer grass, right? So she's getting drunk on air and dew, reeling through endless summer days. Now reeling through endless summer days from inns of molten blue. Now she's describing the weather or the season that she's in. So she's getting drunk on air, drunk on dew, reeling through the endless summer days from inns of molten blue. Now molten blue, she's describing the sky of the summer days because most of the time during the summer, the sky is clear. There's no cloud covering up the sky and it's pretty clear. So if you are looking for blue sky, summer days are the best time for it, right? Then let's go to the next verse. So first we found out she was getting drunk on an alcohol that was better than any other alcohol there is. In the second verse, we found out what that beverage is actually. And that is basically nature. She's getting drunk on nature. So let's go to the third verse. and now she's going to describe how drunk she wants to be on this liquor. So, when landlords turn the drunken bee out of the foxglove's door. When the landlords, যাদের drunken bee means here we're try to imagine a bee that's drunk on flower, collecting honey from the flowers. So, in the third verse, she's describing a picture where the bee has gotten enough honey from the flowers, and when the foxglove's door. Foxglove is a type of flower that comes during the summer days, right? Not in Bangladesh, but in her country, in UK, that's a common flower during the summer days. মৌমাছিরা drunk হয়ে যখন ঘরে ফিরে যায়, right? অথবা when butterflies renounce their drams, যখন বাটারফ্লাইরা তাদের পাখা উড়িয়ে উড়িয়ে ক্লান্ত, right? অর্থাৎ সন্ধ্যার পরে অবভিয়াসলি একটা প্রজাপতি ফুলে ফুলে ঘুরে বেড়াবে না, মৌমাছিরা ফুলে ফুলে ঘুরে বেড়াবে না, তারাও বাড়িতে ফিরে যায় দিন শেষে. So what our speaker or the poet what is she going to do? When the butterflies renounce their drams, I shall but drink the more. So she is going to be the most drunk among the bees and the butterflies, because when they call it quits, ওরা যখন বাড়িতে ফিরে যায়, she's going to get more and more drunk. So even in night time, you could say she's referring to the night time, when the other animals are like, okay, they're done, she's still going to get drunk and enjoy this liquor, this nature that she is in, right? And then the most extreme drunk that you can be, that's the fourth verse, right? Till cherubs swing their snowy hats. Now, what's a cherub? Cherub, এটাকে ছোট করে বলতে গেলে বেসিক্যালি ক্রিশ্চিয়ান লিটারেচারে এঞ্জেলদের 9টা স্তর আছে, 9টা শ্রেণী আছে, আর শেরাপরা হচ্ছে একদম হাইয়েস্ট অফ দ্য হাই. সো এঞ্জেলদের মধ্যে যারা সব থেকে হাইয়েস্ট অফ দ্য হাই, রাইট, তারা যখন সুইংস দেয়ার স্নোই হ্যাটস, এখন এঞ্জেলরা যখন আকাশে থাকে, অবভিয়াসলি এখানে স্নোই হ্যাট বলতে বেসিক্যালি হোয়াইট ক্লাউডকে রেফার করা হচ্ছে, যে সেই এঞ্জেলগুলো যখন তাদের স্নোই হ্যাট নিয়ে নেমে আসে আকাশে, যখন সাদা মেঘ উড়ে যায়, she is trying to imagine that the angels has come down to see her drunkenness, and saints to windows run to see the little tippler, আমার এই মাতাল অস্তিত্বটাকে দেখার জন্য, right? When the saints are running through to the windows, and the cherubs has forsaken their duties and has come down to earth as white clouds to see this little drunk. What will I be doing? I will be leaning against the sun, right? Not I will be. So she says to see the little tippler leaning against the sun. Now there are two alternative endings to this poem, as Emily Dickinson used to rewrite the endings of poems. Depends on which source you're reading it from. So the alternative ending to this fourth verse is, till cherubs swing their snowy hats and saints to windows run, ওই দুইটা লাইন সেম, to see this little tippler from Manzanilla come. So এখানে শেষ লাইনটা হচ্ছে লিনিং এগেনস্ট দ্য সান. এটা যখন বলা হচ্ছে তখন বলছে যে আমি এতটাই ড্রাঙ্ক হয়ে যাব নেচারে, যে যখন দিন শেষে সূর্যটা ঢলে পড়বে, আই উইল বি লিনিং এগেনস্ট দ্যাট সান, বিকজ এই সান থেকে এই সব কিছু শুরু হয়েছে, রাইট? So that's the source of all the alcohol that was never brewed, that I'm getting drunk on, and I will be leaning against the sun at the end of the day, right? As a drunk, nature drunk human being, right? And the alternative ending is to see the little tippler from Manzanilla come. Now Manzanilla is a city in Spain, but it's also a name of a wine that's made in that region. So whichever it's like a wordplay. It's a city that's nice. The wine that comes from the city is the same name, and basically both of those are famous for their drinking culture, right? So to see the little tippler from Manzanilla come, right? And basically, it's the fourth verse describes it's a culture that's we're not familiar with. It's called pub crawling, right? Till sheriffs swing their snowy hats and saints to windows run. To windows run means pub ক্রলিং, অর্থাৎ বিদেশে ওয়েস্টার্নে এমন একটা কালচার আছে যে বন্ধুদের সাথে ড্রিঙ্কিংয়ে মানুষজন বেরোয়। তো একটা পাব থেকে আরেকটা পাব ইউজুয়ালি ওয়াকিং ডিস্টেন্সে হয়ে থাকে। তো অনেক সময় এটাকে বলে পাব ক্রলিং, অর্থাৎ আমরা এক পাবে যাব, ওখানে ড্রিঙ্ক করে দেন আমরা নেক্সট উইল গো টু দ্য নেক্সট পাব অ্যান্ড দ্য নেক্সট পাব। সো বার হপিং বা পাব ক্রলিং এটাকে বলা হয়, অথবা এটাকে আরেকটা টার্ম হচ্ছে টু উইন্ডোজ রান। So all the angels has come down, tipping their snowy hats, swinging their snowy hats, and all the saints who have been crawling through the bars, getting drunk, all of them are going to come to see the little tippler leaning against the sun. Right? So that's basically it. That is the poem, but it paints a really nice picture of how one can enjoy the nature or to get high on nature. It's a beautiful concept, right? And like Emily Dickinson's other poems, this one is also just nature kendrick because she used to love nature, but she described it in a way that was very unconventional even for that time, right? It was written in 1830s, 1860s era, right? That was the Victorian time. During the Victorian time, a woman getting drunk for pleasure was not a good sight or sought after sight to have, right? So even for that time, it was a rebellious thing to do, to getting drunk. But she used this image, and basically it's more of it's not the setup of the poem, we could say. It was inspired by her own garden, backyard garden of Emily Dickinson. So, what we learn from this poem is the extreme imagery that is used and the metaphors that Emily Dickinson uses to describe the drunkenness, right? How one can enjoy this. Oftentimes we are distracted, especially nowadays, right? It was written back in Victorian times. There was no technology. ওই সময় এগুলো কিছুই ছিল না যেগুলোতে আমরা ডিস্ট্র্যাক্টেড থাকবো। তারপরেও মানুষ কিন্তু এনজয় করছিল না নেচারকে the way Emily Dickinson wants them to enjoy, right? So the poem basically was motivated by garden parties that was thrown in back in Victorian times. Garden parties used to be a thing, but those garden parties was not to enjoy nature, right? Garden party যেটা হতো যে মানুষজন they use formal clothings, right? There's teas and cupcakes, there's umbrellas, there's sheets and tables, right? So no one is enjoying nature during a garden party. And basically, Emily Dickinson wanted to change that, wanted to introduce a different format of enjoying nature or how it is meant to be enjoyed and how one can get drunk on nature alone. You don't need anything else. And it's relevant to us because in our time, in 21st century, the time that we're living in, it's very easy to get distracted by things, right? We're not living moment to moment. That's one of the biggest problem, or I don't know, biggest downfall of human experience altogether. আমাদের পূর্বে, আমাদের আগে যখন ইন্টারনেট ছিল না, হাতে হাতে স্মার্টফোন ছিল না, টেলিভিশন and other mediums গুলো ছিল না, মানুষ they used to just live, right? If you're getting bored, you're getting bored, right? You're not trying to hack it. But nowadays, we all have this device, we all have this constant flow of information that we're consuming. And yeah, at the end of the day, it becomes kind of tedious, right? We're not living from moment to moment. And that's what this poem is. It's kind of a reminder for one to be in the moment, like go into nature and feel all these feelings, enjoy, take it all in. That's what the message of the poem is. Now, I'm not going to go through, this is not a last minute lecture. This is probably, you could say, a new series where we go through these poems trying to help you visualize the poetry so you can then, analyze it for yourself. And yeah, that's about it. It's a short poem. I'm not gonna prolong this lecture longer than it is necessary, right? Hopefully, you got the poetry, and if you have to study it for an exam or a class, hopefully, this explanation of the poem helped you in one way or another. Obviously, this channel has been a passion project of mine that I kind of abandoned for a few months because I've been busy with other things, right? But I have been reading through your comments and your messages that I get in my inboxes. It seems like the videos that I'm making অনেক দিক দিয়ে help করে. So I'll try to make more videos because it's helping you guys, and you guys have requested quite a few, right? Some of you had exams, and I saw the messages, but I couldn't do anything because I wasn't in the setup, right? So thank you for sticking with me. Don't forget to subscribe for more literary contents. And until I see you, which will be soon, bye. Ta-da.